Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good day. Hallelujah. This is funny, isn't it? Usually it's by the time we're kind of in the stream that Bitcoin decides to make a move. But right now it kind of happened just before the stream and really caught me off guard because I was actually enjoying watching a YouTube film or YouTube clip, I guess, not really a film. Yeah, I didn't actually see it happen. I didn't see what was going on. I have no idea what's going on, to be honest, with you guys. This is very interesting. This is extremely interesting to me. And if someone was to come right now, as I'm sure everyone here is going to start to ask, Techie, was this the bounce? What's going on? The best answer that I can give you guys is, I don't have a freaking clue. So today was actually meant to be a video about the community update and then essentially the market update. So let's start off with the community stuff while I wait and see what Bitcoin's doing, because it's highly suspicious. I mean, look at that. Look at that RSI. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. And let's go through the community stuff while we can all stare at Bitcoin together beautifully here. Here is Bitcoin. Let's see what this old guy is gonna do. And let's see where it's heading next, which I guess is going to be the question on everyone's lips right now. Community updates. Now, as you guys know, I haven't really done many streams over the last 10 days, I guess. Yeah, we can call it 10 days, 2 weeks. The reason behind that, I needed to take a personal break to deal with personal reasons. I didn't actually kind of disclose this to everyone before. I had a lot of personal stuff I had to deal with. And the market was a little bit shitty. We were kind of, we kind of just started going sideways a bit. A lot of this was in my no trade zone, so I just didn't trade at all. And so everything kind of fell into place that allowed me to take a bit of a break from the streams to get on with some other work that was, waiting to be done, and essentially deal with some personal stuff. So that's why I didn't really do that many streams, and I'm essentially getting back into the flow of everything, getting back into spending more time on the markets, and getting back onto spending more time stuck in front of my screen. During that time, however, I had a lot of time to reflect on the challenge. Looking back at what we originally wanted to accomplish, or what I originally wanted to accomplish, and where we kind of went in terms of that, which direction we started heading in, what obstacles we faced, what challenges we faced, what things were done right, and what things were perhaps had quite a bit of room for improvement. Let's put it like that. Essentially, the stuff came down to a few major points, and so I decided to ask and get everyone's feedback. And thank you everybody who did give your feedback in the Crypto Challenge Discord server. A lot of great feedback there. I have read through every single one of them, guys. Trust me, I've read through every single one of them. Even though it's kind of taken quite a while to read through. And yeah, there's some hard truths in there, and there's some very good points in there as well. And essentially, this is taking from the input from you guys, taking from some other people that I have discussed with, as well as taking into account essentially my own personal desires as well. Taking into account all of those things, the following changes will be made. Number one. Hold on, let's make it a little bit more dramatic, okay? Just for the hell of it. Number one. It's gonna be like those crazy YouTube videos, the top 10, blah, blah, blah. So, number one being the splitting of the streams and lessons, etc. in hindsight, as everything beautifully is in hindsight, if you had hindsight, if you could predict the future and you take the action, then we would all be millionaires by now, because we'd be able to predict which way the markets are moving. That's kind of not really the case. So, in hindsight, yes, it would have been wiser and it would have potentially been better to have the lessons separate from the other streams. So, what are we going to do? Moving forward, we are going to separate the lessons from the streams. The lessons, I think that one of the primary reasons why I wanted to do the lessons as a live stream, at a fixed time, is because then people could prepare their daily routine and they could prepare for the lessons. And it being a live stream would then offer up the opportunity for people to ask questions and to get the answers, and for a discussion to happen as well. Obviously, it also created a little bit of a mess, because then we're doing a lot of things at one point in time. We're looking at the market, we're doing the lessons, we're talking about the trades, we're doing trading, we're doing this, we're doing that. And as a result, then the videos became a little bit... I'll be honest with you guys, personally for me, I wouldn't have continued following, because if I was here just for the lessons, I would have got bored with all the other random shit that's going on. Okay? So, yeah. Essentially, that's what's going to be happening now. The lessons will be splitting off from the other streams or the other content. I'm going to try and I'm going to try to, in a way, keep them at a semi-regular time. There's not going to be a fixed time where every day there's a lesson. But I will try to put out the announcements kind of a little bit in advance, for everybody to be able to prepare for the lessons. And of course, then they're going to be recorded, and that's going to be it. During the lessons, we will not talk about the market. We will not look at other aspects of the market. It is solely just for the lessons. That's point number one. Just a small addition. Point number 1.1, the lessons will be done as live streams. I will not be pre-recording them and then editing them and then putting them out in that manner. They are just going to be live streams. It's going to take too much of my time to prepare and do everything and start editing and then voiceover and then going back and re-recording a section, etc. So it's all just going to be live, off the cuff, as they say, with a bit of preparation. But yeah, so that's what's going to happen with the lessons. Point number 2. Sorry, it's still on point number 1, isn't it? The market updates, etc. Why is this coming up now? The market updates, etc. God, I'm connected from too many devices. Okay. Essentially, what's going to happen with the market updates is as follows. If there is major action within the market, then we will do a market recap of the day. It will not be a daily thing. It will not be a nightly thing. It will be only in the case of if something major happens within the market, then we will look at it. Okay. Initially, it's just going to be for Bitcoin, but then as we move forward, we may look at other coins that we are watching. And please don't ask me right now which coins are we going to be watching, because there's going to be a lot of coins that we may think now that we're going to start to watch, but then as the project develops, or as Bitcoin decides what it's going to do, we're going to decide there's no point in watching this coin, and if we're not going to trade it, then we're not going to watch it. So it's only when we come to the point of trading a coin that we're going to start to watch it, and we'll talk about it in our market updates. Point number 2, the timing. The timing is going to be a little bit of a difficult one. Personally, for me, I go through periods of working and living on US time, and then I go through periods of working and living on European time, and then I go through periods of working and living on Australasian time. And that messes things up a little bit. However, what I do know is that doing every single night at US times, i.e. kind of 7 p.m. EST, is a little bit more exhausting than I initially anticipated. It doesn't allow me the option of getting an early night if I want to get an early night, and if I have something to do the next morning, I generally then have to stay awake the whole night. So, for now, I'm going to test for the next week or so. I'm going to test, or the next 2 weeks, sorry. So essentially up to kind of the first week into April. I'm going to test kind of doing it at European time. Now that the whole of Europe has moved forward 1 hour, I'm going to look at doing it at approximately midnight or potentially even 11 p.m. Central European time, which, let me bring up the clock. There we go. So yeah, you know, it would be kind of 6 p.m. EST, 3 p.m. PST, or 1 hour earlier than that. I'm going to test a few things, and they may move around depending on how everything's going, etc. That's regarding the time. I think we're going to try and keep it a little bit more fluid than things are, and as I said, the lessons might come usually around a certain time, but yeah, they may also be a little bit more fluid. It will give me a lot more flexibility, guys, in getting on with other stuff, essentially. Now I know that a lot of people are going to be worried that they're going to miss out being on the lessons live, and so what I might do is that for each lesson we may do a voice session recap the next day. Just a quick one, just for questions and answers, okay, just so that people can ask the questions that they have. And the rule will be, you watch the lesson, you write down your questions and answers, and then the next day, or that day, depending where you are in the world, I will come on for about half an hour or 20 minutes just for a Q&A on the lesson. If anyone has any questions, if no one's there, then no one's there. So we'll have to work out how to do that. We'll have to work out how to go through and do that, and I guess then we'll all work it out just based on experience. We'll have to test and see how things go. Point number 3 being what else can we add into the community, and what else can we do on the server in order to liven it up a little bit and make sure that people don't get too bored, because it's so boring when you come on the server and there's no new messages. I've gone through a lot of the comments, I've gone through a lot of the stuff, and I think we'll start to implement a few of them. We will start to implement a few of the stuff. I think now that I'm back from essentially being away, having a trading holiday, I will be a bit more active in the server, and we will go through and we will kind of discuss and talk in different rooms. We may add in a few extra rooms. I just realized I'm actually watching the wrong room for the chat. Yeah, so let's see what actually happens. Again, guys, this is all just going to kind of be adapting and changing as we go along. Now, I know a lot of you guys are waiting for the Lord of the Rings stuff to come out and to happen. Well, I say a lot of you guys. I did post a link yesterday. I was replying to somebody's comment. I'm not going to be doing it here on the Crypto Challenge channel. I want to keep the thing separate, so that will be going on a separate YouTube channel. Yeah, so I'll post a link when I'm ready to do the first one. It's going to be live reading, it's not going to be pre-recorded. And yeah, we will read the first chapter, we'll see how it goes. And if interest and support is there, then we may continue to read other things. And this way then it opens up the door as well for you to share the link with other people, friends, etc. And other people can join in without having the whole crypto stuff surrounding it. And we see what happens with it. If nobody's interested, if people get bored, then it just dies off. Things have natural deaths. So that will be happening for that, because I know a few people have been asking about it. And actually I didn't know, but yesterday was the Tolkien National Day of whatever potato reading blah blah blah. I don't know. I didn't follow it. So yeah, there we go. The Lord of the Rings challenge. No, it's not going to be a challenge. It's no point making a challenge. It's not exactly challenging to read a book. But yeah, we could potentially do that, and see how that all goes. Right. So I think then that's all the updates for that. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to question now. You can put a capital letter Q if you're on YouTube, or if you're on the Discord server, you can tag me there and ask. Now let's have a look at what the market's doing. So essentially, we were having a very nice time. We were having a beautiful time, in fact. You know, kind of. I don't like that guy there. I really don't like that guy. But let's for the sake of Bitcoin just go through. If you guys want to write your questions regarding the 3 points, and then I can touch on them as I get a chance. So essentially then we had kind of, this is a channel that a lot of people would draw, you know, maybe a little bit tighter, with just kind of ignoring some of the extra wicks that we've had as kind of false breaks. This giant green, I was not expecting it personally. However, another server that I'm in purely for TA, some guys there have been expecting it, or they were expecting it for kind of the last half an hour to 1 hour. As I mentioned, I was watching YouTube videos and I was not really concentrating. And yeah, as a result then, you know, it kind of, I looked across and I saw this giant green and I was like, holy mother. What is this green? What is it doing? And is this the bounce? We can come back and we can have a look at historical bounces. We can see here where we came down and we were testing multiple times the same level at 7,300, and then we had this big massive bounce, and came back up. Now this massive bounce, I told you guys I did not trust it. I believed it was a manipulation. If we come back to when we bounced on the 6th of February, you can see that we did have a bounce followed by massive retracement, bounce, retracement, bounce, retracement. So it's going to be interesting right now to see how we actually cope with this bounce. Now, let's just move forward. Zoop. Okay, it's relatively small compared to, like, I'm not going to change the scale. We're going to lock the scale here. Okay, and we're going to go back to the 6th. All right, so let's go back to the 6th, and you can see how on the 6th here we had massive bounces. So from the bottom here to the top there, $800 in 1 hour, and if we come back to where we are now, it is still fresh. This here is still fresh. However, we have already kind of been going for about an hour. We've only had $400. To me, to myself, not really bounce. Okay, slight retracement, yes. Okay, it's not the bounce we are waiting for, and yeah, so it's, I didn't know it was coming, so I couldn't have bought in, and it's too late to buy in now, because if you have a look right now on RSI is all the way up here, dude. Okay, you don't want to buy when RSI is all the way up here. This is when you want to sell. We've spoken about RSI. RSI is currently above 70. We don't want to buy when RSI is above 70. That's telling us it's already overbought. Buying when something is overbought is not generally a good idea, unless you're one of those people who likes to buy high and sell low. Then by all means, you know, if you want to throw your money down the drain, then go ahead and do it. You know, I'm not here to stop you. But we are still very much so, as Travis saying, we are still within this channel. Okay, and so this was you know, we have had quite a lot of drop. You know, if you count, personally for me, I'm not counting from the top there. You know, we had a almost 12.5% drop. Okay, and we haven't had a decent retracement since. Okay, to retrace kind of 3-4%, it's expected. You know, you're retracing 1/3 back up before you continue dropping. That's kind of expected. I'm just going through, guys, and doing this live with you. Okay, so I haven't seen this stuff yet. Okay, actually, let's go up to the 480. I haven't done any proper TA on this drop right now, and obviously this here is a fresh chart, so I'm just going to start to draw with you guys. We're going to take our trend line. Okay, there, as you guys can see, we're nowhere near it. Some people are taking another trend line which magically matches up with 2 historic points, this current point here as well as this point. I genuinely don't know how they're doing that. Okay, I really didn't want to do that, techie. I think they may be doing it on the log charts. If I can have a closer look, potentially they are doing it on the log chart. Maybe from here to here. Okay, that could potentially be one point that people are using as the point. Let's go back out of log. Yeah, we could, you know, if that come on, there we go. If that fills people's desire, you know, they could use that point. Personally, for me, I don't like to use that point. I don't know why. Call me crazy, call me weird, I don't know. But these are the points that I like to use, and there's plenty of trend lines, guys. You could draw trend lines going all through here, okay, and you could find potential bounce points. There was somebody as well who we are looking at Fibonacci retracement. So let's put in a Fibonacci technically. Let's put it in from the peak here down to the bottom there. Okay. We'll keep the wick on this. I should have technically zoomed in a bit, isn't it? Would have been easier. Okay, so let's keep the wicks on here. We'll go up to this wick here. Come on, there we go. So we didn't hit a fib level based off of there. Okay, and because fib levels fill up the screens and they really start to piss me off, so we're going to take a fib from here to here. And we can go down back again to the 15-minute. And again, we can see that we didn't hit off of a fib on this. And we could go, and don't worry guys, the lesson on Fibonacci is coming soon. Don't worry, it's there. Powell, go and read the latest one of the latest announcements I made on there. We're not speaking ill of anybody. Different traders have different styles. If you don't like one trader, you move on to the next one and you keep your mouth shut. It's life. So what was the pattern that was seen by somebody else? And it's not a pattern that I am too familiar with. You know, I would need to kind of, research it before I'm able to really explain it to you guys. But it's essentially something called the diamond pattern. Diamond pattern. Okay. Of course, you know. There we go, with a candlestick. And this here is the diamond pattern. This is the diamond pattern in candlesticks. It's when you have, you start off with kind of smaller movements which get larger and then start to reduce once again. There you can see a good example here of a diamond pattern. You can see here again, a very good diamond pattern, okay, rather than people trying to fit head and shoulders. And how can we see that here on Bitcoin? Well, oh, I did not mean to do that. I believe that they're using this section here as the diamond pattern. So we had the drop down, okay, we had a little bit of smaller movement, got very large towards the middle, and then we reduced. Now, as I said, I don't know too much about the diamond pattern, so I'm going to refrain from commenting too much on the diamond pattern, but that is essentially what they saw. Now, personally for me, I am not following these trend lines because I am using my techie corrective wave theory, which is still a work in progress. And if I was to correct this guy down and this guy down, oh god, I forgot where is it there? Huh. Oops. If we come down now with this one here, okay, then we can see that we kind of did really start to break out just a little bit, okay, and we did start to break out ever so slightly from there, and yeah, so I'm keeping a closer eye on this. I am counting the descent that we are, thank you, I am counting the descent that we are in just from the action of today, and essentially coming down like this. So we were in a tighter channel than using this part here where we went sideways for a couple of days because, as I said, I'm not counting this section here. To me personally, everything here was just one big sideways movement with a slight upward angle. If I can just get the correct stuff in there. On my corrected charts, this is essentially the pattern that I have, that we were just moving up in a very slim channel, and then now we started to go down. I wish I could tell you guys more about what Bitcoin is doing. I genuinely don't know. It's a shame that it did this crazy movement just before we came on because I didn't have enough time to really look into it. The indicators are telling me that we are quite overbought right now. MACD is, well, MACD is a lagging or a reactive indicator, so it's kind of behind by a couple of candles, which is why now it looks like it's moving up insane. Some people call this the Loch Ness pattern. As you guys can probably imagine why this looks like the Loch Ness monster. Let's actually, I always want to do this. Let's bring that, there we go. It's a little bit thicker now, easier to see. So I'm going to have to go out now. I'm going to have to go out and I'm going to have to search for some TA which could have predicted this and explained this and given the possible reactions to it. Now, we went up and we've moved sideways so far. If we go over to the 1 day candle, which is due to close in, I always forget now that we changed clocks, UTC time. Yeah, so the daily is going to close in 1 hour, okay, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. We've generally had quite a bit of movement before the daily candle has been closing, and if we come and we check out the daily, and let's just hide our drawing tools, hide all drawing tools, there we go, we can see that the daily candle was actually beautifully large. And yeah, it retraced quite a bit. So let's see how it pans out for the next hour until the daily candle closes, and then we can work out whether this is actually manipulation of the daily candle or whether this here was just a correction within the charts, you know, to give us the effect, or to give us the period that we are in right now. That is all I can tell you guys on Bitcoin. Being completely honest, is this the bounce? I don't believe it's the bounce. Is it safe to buy into alts? No, it wasn't safe to buy into alts a few days ago, but if you bought into alts, then you took that risk, and I hope that you worked out a good exit strategy. Trav saying, I feel the only overbought the time frame 15-minute. Instinct tells me to short because nothing moves up that quickly without a retracement, but it also looks like there is more room for upward movement. That's a very good point, actually. I didn't check it on the other time frames. What I like to do when I have these other time frames there is I like to have at least one historic bounce in there as well, so that I can use that as a reference point for how much momentum, etc. came in. So as an example here, I've got the bounce at 8.3, or technically I don't really class it as a bounce, 7.3, sorry. Let's come in like that. There we go. Okay, so we can see here that we had an interesting bounce, but we had a lot of organic kind of movement back up in the RSI until we reached up here, where, you know, this was the only time that we actually reached, you know, anywhere near being close to 70. So over here right now, we went up in the space of one candle on the 15, or in the space of 3 candles on the, in the space of 3 candles on the 3 minute, so in the space of 10 minutes, we really bounced up hard. We bounced up very hard, and we managed to completely flip the scales. So looking back at historic dates and historic times, we can see how the MACD was significantly lower over here, and then that gave us the nice aggressive bounce that we had. Even over here, we were kind of at a similar level of MACD, but we were really having a lot of battling with MACD down here. You can see how it was constantly moving about. I'm just going to call it moving about for now. Yet over here with our drop, we were kind of just having a bit more of a kind of gradual drop down, which matches up with our chart there. And then we had a sudden peak. And this is on the 30 minute. We can go up to a 60 minute, i.e. 1 hour candle. And we can see again the same effect here. In the space of less than a 1 hour candle, we jumped up 30% on the RSI, you know, compared to here when we had our proper bounce and how slowly we started moving up. You know, it took multiple hours to even reach the same level. So this here to me is really strange. You know, you can even go up to the 240, which is another number that I like to look at, and you can check it out on the 240. And you can see how that has been reacting as well. So it's a bit of a strange one. It's a bit of an odd one to me. What we could do actually is we could look at the MACD, and we can see how MACD is acting. So let's go up to the 480. 480 essentially 8 hours, and we can see here that MACD actually did start to. Remember, MACD is a lagging indicator. Okay, so it's only reflecting what happened in the previous candles, not necessarily in the current one. And we can see that we're already starting to head down, as well as with the RSI. So that's the 8 hour, 4 hour, as you guys can see, 2 hour, 1 hour. So only on the 1 hour did we actually cross over with this candle here. But generally, all of them were still generally pointing down. The RSI here did start to really get a little bit oversold during this drop, but it's kind of not really. Yeah, we did get quite oversold actually, comparing to previous times. Because this here is where we started to have the same kind of step drop that I was expecting us to have today. You know, we were having that same kind of step drop. So yeah, this here is a little bit interesting. I'll have to look into that with some other indicators as well. What are we on? We're on the 60. Move down to the 30. Again, we were quite oversold in comparison to when we had the bounce over here. But this massive jump here is not supportive to me. Let's go and have a look here. Yeah, we did reach some good levels, but as we did previously as well, we have reached down to these levels before, had a bit of a retracement back up and continued our descent. As I said, guys, I haven't really had time to look into this, and yeah, I could be missing something very, very obvious. I could be missing something very, very apparent, and trying to do everything on stream is not as easy as people make it seem. So yeah, I'm gonna call the stream here for tonight. Again, it was just quick updates, nothing major, no major lesson or anything. I did hope to bring you guys some better news. I was going to explain about the trend lines for Bitcoin and where we can expect it to go. We're going to look at some TA from some people, but I can't remember anyone's TA right now saying that we were going to have a bounce at here. to be honest. Like, you know, at this level here, we did come down, we did test it, but as you can see, the previous pattern from around this time here, from around this period here. So I may be actually expecting to see something similar to this, you know, where we were coming down, dropping, going sideways, and we had a boost up, and we'll just have to see how it evolves over the next few hours. I don't recommend this as a trading zone. In fact, I think right now is a very, very, very risky trading zone. Because, yeah, it's just a little bit crazy, guys, to be completely honest. And it could go either way. So if you want to buy into alts, you got to be prepared that you could wake up tomorrow morning. Literally, you could wake up tomorrow morning and let's go down to the hourly. Let's go to the 15-minute. You got to be prepared that you could wake up tomorrow morning and this bad boy could be down here somewhere, you know, kind of at 76 or 7500. That's only 3 hours. So average sleep 8 hours. Okay. Look at where the edge of the 8 hours is. If it does return into the channel, we could be as low as 7,500 on Bitcoin. So you got to watch your ass. But at the same time, we could also bounce up higher, and we could see higher than where we are currently. So just be prepared, guys. You know, I wouldn't recommend trading in this, to be completely frank. And of course, go on the server, guys, and discuss it. There's quite a few knowledgeable people in there who do great TA and who you know a lot of stuff about the markets and are very knowledgeable. So go check out and ask around and see if someone can share their opinion with you, and then you can take it from there. So that's it, guys, for now. I will catch you all tomorrow, and yeah, hopefully I can bring you guys a lesson tomorrow. I think I should be able to get the final stuff together and bring you guys a nice lesson tomorrow, and we will also check out what the market is doing. So from me for tonight, have a good night, I guess. Bye bye.